We missing two tonight? Is that the plan?
Keith,
Joe?
hey, Keith said he was coming.
I did not know this.
He said I plan to attend.
Keith said he was coming.
Yeah.
In his email. That's not a little one until they fly in here.
These disclosure forms now, or do you want me to give it to you after the meeting?
After the meeting.
He forgot.
Is the tape on? Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the February meeting of the Lancaster Zoning Board. Would you please rise as able, and we'll pledge to the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Diane, would you take the roll, please?
Mr. Castellano.
Here.
Mr. Dorenzo. Mr. Michaeli.
Here.
Mr. Storr. Mr. Sugg.
Here.
Mr. Tillmans.
Here.
Chairman Monticelli.
Here. Thank you. And when you're ready, would you read the first notice, please?
The first case considered by the Zoning Board of Appeals is that of the petition of Kevin Peters, 487 Shorts Road, Lancaster, New York, for two variances for the purpose of constructing a pole barn on premises owned by the petitioner at 487 Shorts Road, Lancaster, New York, to wit. A variance from the requirements of Chapter 400, Zoning Section 13, Subsection C, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. The request calls for constructing a 1,440 square foot pole barn. Chapter 400, Zoning Section 13, Subsection C, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires a maximum accessory structure size of 1,250 square feet. The petitioner therefore requests a 207 square foot variance. B, a variance from the requirements of Chapter 400, Zoning Section 13, Subsection C, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. The request calls for constructing a 17-foot, 8-inch pole barn. Chapter 400, Zoning Section 13, Subsection C, Schedule B of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires a maximum accessory building height of 16 feet. The petitioner therefore requests a 1-foot, 8-inch height variance.
Thank you. Is Mr. Peters here, or a representative? Please come up to the mic and tell the board about your project. Oh, and we need your name and address for the record.
Okay, my name's Kevin Peters, 487 Schwartz Road, and I just wanted to build a pole barn to be able to keep all classic cars that I've got and ones that I want to get in the future. Right now I got them spread out all over Erie County, my father's garage, my father's girlfriend's garage, a couple friends' garage, and we just purchased the property this past summer, and it kind of gives us the opportunity to finally get a garage to keep them all in the same area. So just trying to make life easier.
Okay. All right. Well, is there anything else?
Oh, that's it.
Okay. We'll open up to the board for questions then.
Okay.
Mr. Castellano?
Yes, Mr. Peters, I see you have a neighbor. Is it to the one side of your property? What, did you speak to him at all? Is he okay with you putting a pole barn up in your backyard?
I talked with him, and he's actually here.
Oh.
And he said as long as we don't put any bright lights or anything like that on the pole barn, just so it's dark, for this, being able to see the stars and so forth, he was fine with it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Castellano. Mr. Michaeli?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Question, what would, Bill, from Matt, I guess, or Diane, if this were in a floodplain, and it's not, but you're next to the creek, right?
Yes.
So I checked, the floodplain, I think, is on the other side of the creek. If this was in a floodplain, who regulates that? Who, is that when it comes to your office, that gets checked to make sure something's not in a
Yes.
floodplain? Okay.
Yeah, and, the construction portion of it would need to adhere to the floodplain practices.
And this is not in the floodplain?
Correct.
Correct. I have no other questions or comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Michael. Mr. Sugg?
Mr. Peters, other than storage of vehicles, will there be any kind of business conducted on that property? Okay. No further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Sugg. Mr. Tillmans?
No, I'm good. I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Peters, your house is, and your shed are both sided in white, is it correct? Okay. Will you be doing the pole barn in the same way or something different?
I was going to print out a picture. I'm just trying to make it as hidden as can, so I was going to go with black on the bottom and then charcoal, then a black roof with
Okay.
black doors.
Okay.
I thought that would hide it the best.
If I can interrupt, I need you at the podium so that everything, what you're saying is picked up on the audio. Thank you.
So if you just repeat what you said about the colors.
Oh, I was going to make it so that it kind of blended into the property, I thought, as best as possible, so I was going to go with darker colors with black on the bottom, charcoal for the upper part, and then a black roof with black garage doors.
Okay, this kind of camouflage.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, and is there someone in the audience who would like to speak about this request? No? Okay. All right. Okay, there being none, I will call for a roll call vote, please.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Whereas the zoning board of appeals of the town of Lancaster made the following findings: that no undesirable change will be introduced in the character of the neighborhood by granting the area variance relief sought, that no detriment to the nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance relief sought, that the benefits sought by the applicants cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance relief sought, that the requested area variance relief is not substantial, that the proposed area variance relief will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district, that the alleged difficulty is self-created but not to the extent necessary to preclude the granting of the area variance relief sought, that this board has taken into consideration the benefit to the applicants if the variance relief sought is granted as weighed against the detriment to health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such grant, that within the intent purposes of this ordinance, the variance relief sought, if granted, is the minimum variance necessary to afford relief.
Thank you, Mr. Sugg. Then that was seconded by Mr. Tillmans. Now maybe a roll call vote,
Okay.
please.
Mr. Castellano.
Yes.
Mr. Michael.
Yes.
Mr. Storr.
I abstain.
Mr. Sugg.
Yes.
Mr. Tillmans.
Yes.
Chairman Monticelli.
Yes. Mr. Peters, your variance has been approved. You just need to get in touch with the building department to take the next step. Okay? Sure.
I've emailed the contractor to provide an updated disability certificate, so hopefully in the next day or so, we should be able to get that and turn that around rather quickly. If you could, just to check to make sure that, the new certificate has arrived. I don't see an issue. Okay.
You are free to go. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
Good
good
night.
night. You too. Okay, Diane, would you read the second notice, please?
The second case considered by the Zoning Board of Appeals is that of the petition of Russell Salvatore, 6461 Transit Road, Lancaster, New York, for one variance for the purpose of installing an outdoor patio enclosure with open seating on the premises owned by the petitioner at 6461 Transit Road, Lancaster, New York, to wit, a variance for the requirements of Chapter 400 zoning Section 32 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster. The request calls for installing an outdoor patio 61 feet 10 inches from the center line of Transit Road. Chapter 400 zoning, section 32 of the Code of the Town of Lancaster requires 90-foot setback from Transit Road. Petitioner therefore requests a 28-foot 2-inch variance.
Thank you. Could you give us your name and address for the record, please?
Certainly. My name is Stephen Geltz. I'm from Darrell Martin Architects, 3625 Eggert Road, Orchard Park.
Okay. Can you explain to the board the project being requested, please?
Well, certainly. We've already gone through planning, everything that already got approved. There's an existing patio, if you're familiar with Salvatore's, there's an existing patio that they had put outside with a canvas awning. The owner, Russell Salvatore, was looking to take that patio space and enclose it, putting a hard roof on, putting the same brick veneer that's on the hotel now, and kind of spruce up the front look, enclose this, and have a little second outdoor patio area on the side. So we're trying to use an existing concrete wall that's already in place, and use that as the foundation. So therefore, this is where the area variance is requested.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
No?
Diane, I'm sorry, I thought I'd seen something from Mr. Salvatore. Do we need something from him to elaborate?
He is actually the petitioner.
Okay, so that's all right.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
And he has allowed Mr. Geltz to represent him.
Designation here.
Thank you. I knew I saw it. Okay, thanks. Okay, so we'll open up the board for questioning. Mr. Michael Lee?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So if we're looking at the building right now, for the past few weeks, it's the part that's been collapsed by snow?
Yes.
That's exactly where we're looking?
That's exactly where it is.
Okay. And I'm thinking maybe the reason they haven't fixed that yet is because this is going on.
Correct.
In your package, you said the existing restaurant is already non-compliant with the 65.75-foot setback. I'm imagining that at some point there may have been a variance for that?
I don't know. It's obviously existing non-compliance. There is an old pump station part of the original building way back when. If you look at the site plan, it would be to the northeastern corner towards our patio area there. There's a fountain there, and just beyond the fountain, heading west, it's a front bump out that's there for a pump station that they've had enclosed.
Okay. Thank you. I have no other questions, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Michael Lee. Mr. Storr?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No questions.
Thank you, Mr. Storr. Mr. Suggs?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No questions.
Thank you, Mr. Suggs. Mr. Tillmans?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no questions.
Mr. Castellano?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have no questions either.
Thank you, Mr. Castellano. I have no questions either. Anyone here to make a motion?
I'll make one.
Thank you, Mr. Storr.
Whereas the zoning boards of appeals of the town of Lancaster has made the following findings: that no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood by the granting of the area variance relief sought, that no detriment to nearby properties will be created by the granting of the area variance relief sought, that the benefit sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variance relief sought, that the requested area variance relief sought is not substantial, and that the area proposed variance relief sought will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical, environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district, that the alleged difficulty is self-created but not to the extent necessary to preclude the granting of the area variance relief sought, that this board is taking into consideration the benefit of the applicants if the area variance relief sought is granted as weighted against the detriment to the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood or community by such grant, that within the intent and purposes of this ordinance, the variance relief sought, if granted, is minimum variance necessary to afford relief.
Thank you,
Second
Mr.
that.
Storr. Thank you, Mr. Suggs. Seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Castellano.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Lee.
Yes.
Mr. Storr.
Yes.
Mr. Suggs.
Yes.
Mr. Tillmans.
Yes.
Chairman Monticelli.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Best. the board has approved your request. And just give the department a call and you can go from there, okay? All right, thank you. Any other business before the board?
Before you came, I did mention that car wash variance will not be before the board until April.
April, okay. Yeah, has anybody else been out there? Anybody else been out to the Royal Car Wash?
Thanks for your patience.
Two Royal?
Yeah. Not Royal.
I was gonna say, am I?
Classy chassis.
I went to get my car washed last weekend, so yes, I was there.
Yeah, you were there. I saw you. Okay, motion to adjourn? Thank you. All right, is that a record?
I think you did it.
Dick Quinn never did that.
Pretty shy on camera.
Yeah.
That was
Average is probably